I'm Sam, and this is the Ferrari Puller 3000. Stop. Right now, at this point, I can confidently say I regret buying this destroyed V12 Ferrari. And usually, this wouldn't matter much if it were just a normal car. If you buy something, and especially if you buy it right, and aren't fond of it, you can just turn it around and sell it again. Maybe it costs you a few bucks in the process, but it's an easy way to just move along. The problem here is that when you buy a salvage car and you're the first public buyer and you want to immediately get rid of it, it signals to any other potential buyers that there's something grossly wrong. And even though I might have got it for a good price, it wasn't good enough. The truth is, I've had this car a very long time, and I've gone back and forth as to whether I should actually fix it. Now, a lot of you in the comments suggested I just part it out, which isn't a terrible idea. The drivetrain would probably be worth about 2/3 of its purchase price. Each body panel that's actually usable is worth a small fortune, but this just isn't realistic for me, and it would take years to actually move each part, so I don't think it would be worth it. Several months ago, I let a few guys know through the grapevine I wanted to try and just off this thing, and I got a ton of inquiries. I spoke with a producer at Netflix who was interested in a build for a current show there, a professional rebuilder, and a couple other YouTube guys. These were all serious leads with serious cash, but the second I explained the undercarriage damage, all of their prior interests just dissipated. Well, maybe it was the price that shied them away. Either way, I couldn't let this thing go to rot in the field, and there's only one other guy I know that isn't afraid of stuff like this. I called up my friend Ben, and he was enthusiastic about it. When I sent him closer-up pictures, it was like he had an entire plan devised to repair this frame without having to buy any of the aluminum components from Ferrari. Now, you guys probably know Ben better as vTuned, a super talented framer and the right man for this job. He told me to bring it to him ASAP. My only problem was getting it back on the trailer. If you saw the previous videos, you might know the car runs, but it doesn't drive. The tires are smashed up so it hardly rolls, even though when you drag it behind the tractor, it's a heck of a tiller. Stumped as to how to get it back on the trailer, vTuned drew me up these three-dimensional sketches, and I got to work. What you're about to see is one of the dumbest things anyone can do with an old Civic, let alone a Ferrari. So please don't do anything in the remainder of this video, except maybe the part where we jumpstart the car. That's something you'll likely need to do at one point in your life. You gotta do it safely, you gotta do it simply and reliably. You can do all that with a Fantic jump pack. These are the best jump packs and the only ones that I use, and right now they're the best price they've been all year over at Amazon. I'll drop a link to the TA Apex down in the description. And there's a huge reason I prefer Fantic jump packs over any other, and that's because it has a manual override feature. If your battery is so dead that a regular jump pack can't detect it, well, it just simply won't work and it will leave you stranded. When you go and hold the two buttons on the Fantic, the power and the light button at the same time, you'll hear it click. And right there, just entered a manual override mode where it sends all the power of this jump pack straight to your battery and make sure it'll start reliably every single time. And it does so safely with its built-in smart chip. So even if this is a gift for a new driver and they somehow cross the leads or hook it up wrong, it's not gonna break the Fantic, it's not gonna break your car. It's simply just going to beep to tell you you don't have it hooked up right. Make sure you take advantage of Fantic's huge Black Friday sale going on just right now for the next few days over at Amazon. All those links are down in the description, including a link for the X8 Apex, which is the portable tire inflator. This will blow up your tires with just its little built-in battery up to 150 PSI, which is huge. Any other portable tire inflator I had before this would only go up to about 30 or 35 PSI. This one does 150 PSI, which is really important if you drive a pickup truck. You know that they take like 75 pounds of pressure. The X8 Apex is the perfect tool for the job, as are all of Fantic's tools. They've got some tremendous deals going on right now. Check them out at the link in the description. Once we got the suspension semi-sorted here on the 599, I went and turned the steering wheel as much as I could this way when we were pulling it off the trailer. The steering wheel is literally full lock right now, and look at how much the wheel is turned. So one of two things is going on. Either our steering rack is just toast, which is very possible, or it is also possible that, like I said, the suspension is just semi-sorted and we need to rejigger a couple things in there. Either way, we got to get this car moved. And the wheels in the current condition that they're in, they're all sorts of different shapes. This thing will not roll at all, especially not in the grass. Luckily, my friend vTuned told me about these right here. These are universal fit gunny wheels. They're shop wheels. So like at a collision shop, if they've got a car with the wheels and tires off, but they still need to move it around the shop, they'll use these. They have a solid tread on them and they're really thin, so there's low rolling resistance. And obviously they're still in the shape of a circle, unlike what we're dealing with over here. So what we wanna do is get our gunny wheels in all four corners. We're gonna turn the wheel straight again. Hopefully we'll get this Ferrari moving around the farm much easier than it did last time. Hey, go ahead, Rich. See if it'll turn a little bit. Go ahead. Straight? Yes, it is turning. Hold on. You gotta go, let's see it. Here. Left or right? No, this way. This way. Just a hair? What way's that way? This way? Yeah, perfect. That's like almost there. All right. Okay, so this No, this is going to be close. This one is still cocked a little bit this way, so it's probably quite a bit out of alignment. But
well, I think you have major suspension issues.
Yeah, well, with a smidgen. Remember, Alex supposedly took care of that, all right? All right, here. Just give me, hold on.
Drive it?
You know, don't drive it. Turn it a hair more that way. It's got to go a little bit. Oh, right there. I love that. I love that. I think we're gravy, baby. I think we're good.
The wheel's at a 90-degree angle, by the way. The wheel's facing this way.
Well, I mean, Rich, the alignment's off. It just was in a minor accident, you know?
Minor?
Mine, Rich, I mean, you know, airbags.
What's up? Sam, what's up with this? Is that normal?
What's that?
Don't. Like a ball? Is that filled with water?
Oh, no, that's just a saggy Ferrari headliner, Rich.
Oh, is that normal?
That's very normal.
That's a feature. All right, cool.
That's Ferrari, you know, saggy headliner.
This is very nice in here.
You
have the suitcase. What's the suitcase?
Is the suitcase? No, Rich, that's just the nice leather trimming that's back there.
Why they have straps on a suitcase?
It's you know, to hold your stuff down when you're going fast. It probably hit something going pretty fast, actually.
It seems that way. What what are we doing now?
No, Rich, put it back. Put it back. According to these very detailed diagrams, it looks like the first step in our process here is to get the Ferrari's nose high up in the air, as high as possible, in a grass field, which seems safe. The purpose of this is so we can roll the trailer back on the front end, and we can pull it up the rest of the way. By the way, don't ever attempt anything like this. It isn't smart, and what you're about to see is actually just CGI. So far, this hasn't been terrible, but it's been a very shifty operation. We're on the second to last step here, and that is to bring the trailer, bring the dovetail of the trailer in particular underneath the front end of the car before we reach the jack on one side, the jack stand on the other side. I measured things. It should be high enough for us to just be able to slide the front end under. From there, we're going to connect things to a winch, get it solid. We're going to remove our stands, and then we should be able to just yank it up from there. But never again will I buy a car this wrecked. At least I'm crossing my fingers that I don't buy a car this wrecked ever again. You can see the back end is really crooked. We've got the front end on near perfect. Back end needs to come over quite a bit to the left. So this better work, because if it doesn't, it's going to make our life a nightmare. We've got a dolly with wood underneath that dolly. This, we're hoping, will slide the rear end of the car over enough for that wheel to touch the back, it to get centered. And well, let's just say a quick prayer. I'm Sam, and this is the Ferrari Puller 3000. Stop. Perfect. Did it do it? Yeah. No freaking way. That worked. Don't do anything you're seeing ever in this video, ever. And especially don't buy a car that's as crashed as this one. It worked?
I cannot believe that actually worked.
Would you just look at how square this thing is? I'm not sure if I should be really proud or feel really dumb, but either way, the Ferrari was finally back up on the trailer and all set up and ready to be worked on by anyone but me.
We're here right now at Costco. We've got this thing half off because it's destroyed.
I gotta go. So listen, you take it. I'm gonna meet you at your shop in a couple days.
Alrighty, and I'll probably have it already repaired. You can just pick it up in 3 days.
All right, that sounds good. I think we made it to the right place. I see Ben in there working on his Mustang.
What's going on, Sam?
Ben, that wasn't staged at all, was it?
No, sir. I'm actually making a custom bumper for the car. You know, you came at the perfect opportunity.
It looks really good. It looks like a real car, unlike the last one that you cut in half.
The last one, hey, that was an accident. You know, that was the first prototype. You know, car companies, you know, they go through a couple of prototypes.
I agree with you. No, but this one is coming along good. This one definitely worth saving.
I actually stole your rims too. You like it? You like how they fit on the car?
The rims look very, very familiar. You guys remember where these rims came off of?
And the Aston Martin, I think.
They look really nice on this Mustang.
I mean, if I paint them black, I think they'll go good because the car's probably gonna be Nardo gray. So I think they'll stand out. The only thing I don't like about it is they don't really have a lip on them, you know? Like the offset is just, I don't know if that's positive or negative. What is that? That's positive offset, isn't that?
I don't know, but the best part about them is the price that you got them for, all right?
Free.
Free. Kind of like the labor.
Oh, that car. Guys, I don't even know where to start on that car.
We're doing a trade deal. The wheels for an entire rebuild on the Ferrari, right? All right, Ben, enough with this Mustang. Not really. Let's talk more about the Mustang. I don't even want to talk about that Ferrari in the background.
We'll let that simmer a little bit.
If anybody's wondering how Ben made his millions to be able to afford nice stuff like a Mustang without an engine and a McLaren, it's Nissan Sentras.
Wait, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them.
What's the purpose of all them?
We'll see. Okay, I'll tell you. I bought that car right there. Bad engine. It's kind of like your Ferrari deal over here. I seen it on iBuyFast on the auction, and I was like, yo, that's a good deal. I paid $1,500 for it, and it came here, and the engine's just like pushed into the firewall. But it makes a good parts car. So then I bought another one to use those for that car. And then I put a bid on that car for $300, and I won that car. But hey, the car looks good. The cool thing about this car, I like that the entire body isn't destroyed, you know? The main area is just the suspension and a fender and a hood and a bumper. You know, like some cars you get that the whole front end's ripped off and you have to find somewhere stuff. Mostly everything is here, you know? Like
Mostly.
Yeah, on McLaren, like everything was just ripped off so that you didn't even have a good starting point. But hey, that car turned out good.
It turned out really good. We'll look at it in a second. So walk me around. This is the bad corner here. I noticed a little bit of this here. I didn't notice this until you got that section pulled off there.
I took the fender liner off. And I love how they use bolts that look like they're from Ace Hardware.
They very well could have been at one point because you noticed something else on this car that I totally didn't notice.
This car used to be gray. They did a full custom paint job. You can see right here where they were scuffing it down for paint. And right here you can just see how they did that and it's already peeling off.
Wow.
So yeah, the car, I mean, they did a pretty good job though, because like in the interior right here, all the stickers, I guess they got new stickers because they're all perfect. And another thing that I've seen was these bolts are painted and they're not supposed to be painted. You can see the rubbers right here is painted and it's already peeling off.
Wow. Let's face the tough part here.
All right, the toughest part is going to be this sway bar right here. You can see it's pushed over.
It's not pushed over
though.
though.
No, it is. Look. You see? You see how that's sitting?
Huh.
And then this side over here is pushed over.
I had no clue if there was any issue with the rear. Do you think that had anything to do with this? Stop. That was me. That has nothing to do with the accident. Let's go back to the front. Okay, so this front corner, I'm seeing more stuff because you've peeled it apart a little bit. I'm seeing a crack here, crack here. How bad is this sort of stuff? What are you going to have to buy? What are you going to have to replace, or can you repair any of this?
Well, most of the stuff in the front I can repair, like this right here. We can just weld it all back to place. It is all just aluminum, so just put a weld there, straighten it out, of course. And then this bar right here, maybe replace it because it does unbolt just right there. But I don't know how hard these parts are to find, because I did try to find some and you can't really find much on these cars. And they want outrage. Like for this little panel right here, just this little thing that's welded to the car, they want like $3,000.
Yeah. And it's a bunch of little, just square tube or whatever they call it.
Of aluminum.
I know that sounds funny, but they do call it like square tube, don't they? Prices on this stuff is absurd. That's why I brought the car to you, because like you did with the Lamborghini,
I remember that. That turned out awesome.
we made a $5,000 beam.
20 bucks.
20 bucks. You did. I take no credit in that. All right, the next part. Can we get this lift any higher in the air so we can check out the underside and see what we're dealing with? Now, this is what I thought you were going to tell me was the toughest part, because it sure as heck looks like the toughest part to me.
Yeah, we already started pulling it. We're using this strap to pull it back into place.
Yeah. Actually, that's a good idea. Ben took the strap remember the heck of a time we were having getting on the trailer because this control arm was hanging low. Look at this. He went and hooked it around where it connects to the frame.
That's where it pays to have 10 years of experience.
It seriously does. Look at this wheel. Look, there's no movement in the wheel at all. That's amazing. That is freaking amazing. That's the sort of work that vTuned does.
Like that. But hey, here's the main issue right here. Is this oil cooler's busted. I'm not even like, this is gonna be easy. This right here is just a little bit of a damage.
Let's talk about this as two separate pieces. So obviously you could drill this out. Am I right in saying that? You get some rivets?
That's just riveted on right there. The center beam will just come out. So that can easily be replaced.
So we replaced this. And that is, looking at that, if it was just this, man, you could easily just throw in a new one because there's nothing else. It's just connected here, here.
That's all it is. It's just basically just unbolt it or unrivet it, and then I think it bolts on the top.
Okay, so, but then this is pushed in a bit.
Yeah,
so what's the solution for the frame here?
I mean, basically just heat it up and pull it back into place.
Come on, you think you could do it?
Yeah, easy.
Now, when it comes to the oil coolers, you said that's going to be hard. To me,
that's the hard part, is building one of these.
Well,
this is going to be easy.
Yeah, I don't know about that. The guys over at Bell Intercoolers, they specialize in all sorts of different coolers, including oil coolers, and they replaced my Aston Martin oil cooler for a fraction.
And I think we're going to replace this radiator too.
Okay, well, any cooler that we got that's damaged, let's take that off. We'll go ahead, of course, we'll look for used ones. We'll look for compatible ones, and if we can't, we'll get them custom made because a lot of times that'll be cheaper than Ferrari. Let's pray. Look at that fan. Look at how close everything is that fan.
Other stuff is good.
And I got to ask, is that from the squirrels or from the accident?
I think that's the squirrels they were running through there. You know, like those little hamsters in their cages, they run through there.
Man, what a trip and what a car. This is one of those ones where I'm still not sure this car should be finished. And that's just because of the money standpoint, not necessarily the repairability standpoint. Anything is fixable as long as you spend money. That's why you see a lot of YouTube rebuilds where people spend more money on the car than a clean title counterpart would actually be worth. And that sort of stuff doesn't make any sense. We want to do this on a budget, if there is such thing with a V12 Ferrari. So far, I've spent around $5,000, but I got a lot of parts for that. I bought a bumper, a fender, a hood. Those body components aren't in perfect condition, are going to need a little bit of work, but they're refurbishable. I've bought a whole suspension, a bunch of miscellaneous components, and a couple carbon ceramic brake rotors. So if you consider I've got all that so far for around $5,000, we're not doing too bad. The initial numbers are coming back all right. Like, we're gonna be able to do this and do this for a number that makes sense. If you ever worked on a car, especially one with crash damage, you know that it's like opening a can of worms, and you can find one little item, especially on a car like this Ferrari, that'll set you back 5 figures in the blink of an eye. Let's hope that doesn't happen. And vTuned has already opened this can of worms over on his channel. I'm going to link his video above right now. He's already began the framework on it. And again, it's looking a little bit more rough than I even showed you in the initial video. So make sure you check out his video, and if you want to see a little bit more behind the scenes footage, you got to check out his brother Yuri over at 23rd Garage. When I first met vTuned, he told me that pretty much everything he learned was from his brother Yuri, and so they're capturing, again, some of the behind the scenes stuff, and I'm hoping he's going to be an integral part of making this car whole again, because with both of their experience side by side, I'm pretty confident we're going to be able to get this done. I plan on making a few trips back and forth to him so I can help out with moral support, because that seems to be what I'm okay at. I can't really turn a wrench or anything like that. But as always, if you want to see updates to the project before anything goes live on YouTube, make sure you're following my Instagrammer. Just hit the link down below. I want to thank vTuned. I want to thank his brother Yuri, and I want to thank each and every one of you for watching today. I'll catch you very soon.